Firewall Ultra, one of the most hyped games for the PlayStation VR 2, just launched today, and after playing it for a few hours, I've gotta say the game is not what I was expecting. Everything you'll see in this video is recorded at native 4K 60 FPS, and I have not touched or adjusted the colors or brightness at all, to give you a good representation of what to expect. Of course, as with anything VR, the experience in the headset cannot be replicated on a flat video, but I'll do my best to describe it. Here are my thoughts about the graphics, sound design, gameplay and mechanics, and this last one was pretty shocking, so let's get into it. Upon booting Firewall Ultra for the first time, you're thrown into a tutorial without much guidance on what to do, except go to the various points and go through the training exercises. I've played hundreds of VR games at this point and I could not figure out how to conclude the tutorial. So after playing around for a bit in the tutorial area, I had to simply quit to the main menu and acknowledge that I would lose all my progress. Which progress exactly? Beats me. From a graphics standpoint, I was honestly expecting way more, especially after playing other games and seeing what the PSVR 2 is capable of from a visual fidelity standpoint. The game isn't ugly by any means, but it's nothing to write home about either, and kinda looks like a native Quest game with better lighting. The textures are kinda flat and everything seems to be covered in a sort of blurriness or fogginess. It's not a deal breaker and the gameplay itself was pretty fun, but I'll get to that in a minute. Sound design is also extremely important for a tactical shooter, and for the most part it's decent, but I would have liked the footsteps to be a bit better defined. I was using the earbuds that come included with the PSVR 2, which deliver great quality in most titles, but Firewall did not impress me here either. From a gameplay perspective, as I've mentioned earlier, it was pretty fun. I jumped straight into 4v4 multiplayer, and the only game mode here is one where your team either has to hack the other team's laptop and retrieve data, or defend your own and prevent the enemies from getting yours. I've played in multiple locations and most of the maps are fairly small. There are lots of corridors and tight spaces, which I really like because it forces you to play tactically and not just go in guns blazing. If you're downed, teammates can revive you for a certain period of time unless the enemy finishes you off, in which case you'll remain dead until the end of the round. While dead, you can still cycle through the security cameras and help your teammates by letting them know where the enemies are, which I thought was a cool idea. Speaking of being downed, it's a great moment to move on to the mechanics. When you get downed, you're thrown into a third-person camera, which feels weird in VR and I'm not sure why they went this route. But things get way worse from here because the game features a plethora of mechanics that simply don't make sense for VR, and I'll go through all of them. Firstly, there's no manual reload. When reloading, there's simply an animation that plays and you can't do much else while this is happening. I understand it might be to accommodate newer players, but I would like to at least see an option for manual reload, because it really ruins the immersion having to sit and watch your hands reload the gun on their own. Furthermore, there's a freaking aim down sights button. Yes, a button. You can of course bring the gun closer to your face and aim like that, but the aim will be super shaky unless you use the ADS button, which is your left trigger. I wouldn't mind if they implemented this with that ADS button just stabilizing your gun, but it activates an animation that brings the gun closer, and again it is super immersion breaking. I'm right-handed, so I've chosen my dominant hand to be, you guessed it, my right one. Your offhand, in my case left, is basically almost useless in-game. Yes, you can hold the front of your weapon with it and press the ADS button, but otherwise it just acts as a cursor throughout the game. But wait, you can surely grab a grenade with your offhand, right? Nope. To switch weapons, including switching to a grenade or flashbang, once again you press a button. This really pisses me off. It's VR, it's supposed to be immersive. Why can't I just reach down to my belt or to my chest and grab a grenade to throw it? I have to be completely exposed and not have a weapon in my hand anymore, and then to switch back I press the button again and select a gun or a pistol. Why? Just why? One of the coolest features of the PSVR 2 is eye tracking, and I never thought I would say this about a game, but it has too much of it. Navigating the menus, eye tracking. Switching weapons, eye tracking. Aiming grenades, eye tracking. Though I've got to admit that the grenades one is actually pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate all of the work that went into implementing this feature, but I'd like to have an option to turn it off, at least for menus, and just navigate with my thumbstick. It's too sensitive, and even moving your eyes a bit can cause you to select the wrong thing. A few other things I've noticed straight away is how dark the maps are. Except for one, they're all pitch black, and I appreciate the OLED blacks, but none of my teammates were able to even figure out how to unlock things and purchase attachments like a flash flashlight. All of the attachments and weapons are locked. It's possible that you need to go through the campaign to start unlocking things, but I'm mostly interested in the multiplayer. And even so, at least give us some sort of indication of what we need to do to unlock things. Because after every game we were all excited to go and buy attachments or new guns, and surprise surprise, they were all still locked despite gaining XP and leveling up. I am not giving up on Firewall Ultra and will surely play more of it, but as a first impression, I'm severely disappointed. Especially after all the hype and marketing that's been done by both the developers and Sony, and how fantastic the gameplay trailers made it look. It feels like an unfinished game, and it's starting to make sense why they did not want to give anyone pre-release access like 99% of the developers do. I am really hoping they will fix these issues because the foundation of the game is genuinely not bad, but it needs way more refinement to become what was promised. If you've played it, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hope this video was useful if you're wondering if it's worth buying at launch. I'll keep playing it and likely release a full review in a few weeks after going through more of the game, including the campaign. Cheers, guys!